It's now time for Remember When with Uncle John. John Guess, Ouachita County's resident storyteller and local historian. Sit back now and enjoy a walk down memory lane as John recalls the days of yesteryear in his own unique way. You never know, some of it might even be true. So here's Uncle John, along with his trusty sidekick, Kelly Blair.
Back on Remember When with Uncle John. Well, here we are at the midway point of the week. That means it is Wassailing Wednesday here on the Remember When with Uncle John show. Who you want to talk about today, John?
Well, we talked about yesterday, was Uncle Ted's birthday,
Yeah,
know.
right.
Yesterday would have also been the 70th birthday of Mr. Sylvester Ritter.
Hey, I know who you're talking about.
Leroy Rochester.
That's not who most people know him
The
about.
Junkyard Dog.
Now we're talking JYD, baby.
The Big Thump.
Absolutely.
The greatest, most prolific, most popular, most over wrestler ever in the Mid-South.
No doubt. Nobody even came close.
Nobody even came close. Nobody could have ever filled those shoes in the Mid-South, 79, 80, 81, 82. I'm telling you, till Vince made the big push and stole everybody, he ruled this part of the country.
And one of the bigger stars in the WWF when he got there in 84, 85. I mean,
Yeah.
he was right there, not as popular as Hulk Hogan, but he was close.
But I'm telling you now, nobody in this part of the country, and I can't say what he drew, in Philadelphia or Boston or Pittsburgh or, any of those places. But I'm telling you, in the Hearst Coliseum, in the Shreveport Municipal Auditorium, in Barton Coliseum, in Rapides Parish Coliseum in Alexandria.
And the Superdome in New Orleans.
The Monroe Civic Center and the Superdome in downtown New Orleans. Nobody packed a house better than Junkyard Dog.
Nobody. Not down here in the Mid-South.
And I'm telling you right now, the guy was on top, and he was the top. And they talk about, he was not, he certainly was no Greco-Roman catch-can wrestler.
Not the greatest technical wrestler out there.
He only had a few moves, but a few moves is all it took.
Handful to a half dozen, and he was good.
And I'm telling you, when he put the big thump on you, it was all over.
Yeah, it was, as Don Meredith would say, turn out the lights, the party's over.
And I'm telling you, I have used the line 1,000,000 times, just like a cabbage, all head and no rear. But I remember, when he lost the loser leave town match.
Oh yeah,
and he came back as Stagger Lee. We didn't have internet then. We didn't know that had been done somewhere else. We didn't know, what went on in the Carolinas or in Georgia. We didn't have cable TV.
And it gave him a chance to go work over in Memphis for a couple of weeks.
Right. But I'm telling you, man, when he came back as Stagger Lee, it was groundbreaking. It was, we would go down to Shreveport just about every week. And I'm telling you, it was fantastic, man.
The only guy to take the Junkyard Dog's milk money when he was a kid. Stagger Lee.
That's right. But how old was he when he passed away? 45?
45.
And of course his best days were behind him, and he had terrible substance abuse problems that everybody, was widely known about. But I'm telling you, the guy could have came back at 70 years old in a wrestling ring in Shreveport and packed the house.
Oh, yeah. Think about all the wrestling reunions and everything they're doing nowadays. He'd be right there with all of them.
And I'm going to tell you, the guy was just over. And he had what it took.
He had that it factor. At the end of the day, that's what so many of them talk about. You either have it, that charisma factor, that gets you over with the fans, or you don't.
He developed those substance abuse problems, and he quit working out. And a lot of the wrestlers call him the junk food dog, you know. But the guy, I'm telling you, he could have walked into a crowd and owned it.
Well, that's just like making fun of Elvis after he gained weight, because for so long he was it, man. Nobody could say anything bad about him because he was on top of the world. Ted DiBiase tickled me when they did one of those Mid-South documentaries. He said, man, I used to go out and work these 30, 45-minute matches and everything, and says, here comes old Thump, bebopping to the music. Another one bites the dust, swinging that chain, shakes the rope, shakes his booty a little bit, comes in 5 minutes later, big Thump, he's out of there, and everybody just losing their minds.
And You ain't getting paid by the hour, as Bill Watts always said. You know, you ain't getting paid by the hour. But I miss him. I miss those days. It's hard to realize, man. That's 40 years ago. But it was a great time in my life. I was 20, 21, 22 years old. We were going to Shreveport pretty much every week, or Little Rock, Barton Coliseum, to see him, and I'm telling you, there wasn't an empty seat in the place. And when that music broke and he hit the ring, it was pandemonium.
Maybe even before, because Hacksaw Jim Duggan told the story about he can remember sitting in those arenas in Louisiana and Mississippi, and he said, we're in the middle of the card, and the crowd is chanting and shaking their walls, who dat gonna beat that dog?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Man,
great times.
Good stuff. That was good stuff. Hey, that's going to wrap up Remember When with Uncle John here on Wrestling Wednesday. But we do want to thank Sherwin-Williams House Paint, ProMed Ambulance Service, The Shopper's Guide for being our wonderful sponsors on this great little show. And be sure to find us anywhere you can find podcasts. You can find us on YouTube, and you can find us on our Yes Radio Works Facebook page. I guess we'll see you tomorrow, John.
See you tomorrow, Kelly.
You've been listening to Remember When with Uncle John on Y95. This broadcast can be heard each weekday morning at 6:45 on South Arkansas's favorite station, Y95.